we're just going to catch up on some of the Rivian news and some of the stuff that's happening lately. And so go ahead, Jamie. You said that you really want to talk about communication. Take it away.
Yeah, I do. It's been great to see in the socials all the different deliveries that have been going on. And, there's a good portion of them that have all been Rivian employees, who are also customers. I please don't confuse the two. I mean, they are customers just like we're customers, but they are getting their first crack at it. But there are the customers that were called or emailed rather on 28 May who were given a date of the end of October. And the last time I checked my calendar, we're in November now. And they are crickets. And this isn't this isn't an attack on Rivian or attack on the guides directly, because the guides are, we've said this 100 times, the information that they get is only as, or the information they give is only as good as the information they get. But there's a lack of communication that has, goes all the way back to, beginning of 20. And then, you fast forward to RJ's letter in July that talked about doing a better job of communicating. And short of, if it wasn't for all of the Rivian employee customers that had been posting pictures of their adventures and them taking delivery of their trucks, we wouldn't know that any deliveries have taken place other than that little snip from 14 September there on there, at the factory.
At the factory, yeah.
There really hasn't been anything from Rivian.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe when you count in the S-1, but I mean, how many people other than the three of us and maybe a handful of the other super fanboys are actually going to dive into the S-1 and read it and find out that X amount of Rivians have been delivered?
My biggest takeaway, both you guys have mentioned, RJ in his letter months ago said that they were going to do a better job communicating, especially around deliveries and timeframes. And that's what the pre-order holders want to know is, hey, most of us won't try to hold Rivian to it, but having a general idea of when we might be able to expect our vehicles is a big deal. There's all kinds of other life decisions and things going on to where that would be helpful to know. I mean, I would be happy with a 3-month window. And yeah, I mean, it has been quiet. So actually a little bit hot off the presses here, guys. Rivian filed an update with the SEC that said that 180 R1T's have now been produced, and that's in contrast with and that's as of yesterday, October 31st, Halloween. And let's see, 156 have been delivered, and it does say that nearly all of those have been to employees, but once again, that's an SEC filing. That's not Rivian communicating to the customer base.
The amount of time we field questions for what's going on, like we have an inside track on all things Rivian, and we don't. Right? We don't, and it's I know I'm far down the list because Rivian does not have a presence in Florida now. So I know I'm way down the list. I don't expect a truck in 2022 or 2021, excuse me. But for the people that should be expecting trucks that live in areas of New York or California or Washington State or Normal that were told, expect your vehicle by the end of November, end of October, and then they haven't heard anything since, and their guide's not telling them anything because the guide's not being told anything. It's not only frustrating for me, for us, but it's really frustrating for them because, like you said, Skylar, to your point, some of these people have already made plans with vehicles or skipped other plans because they were expecting to have plans with this truck already.
Yeah, and that's another big deal for me is, some people were told by the end of October and even asked, would you be opposed if it came earlier? And, of course the answer is no, but now that's another one of these kind of missed deadlines to a certain extent.
Oh, yeah.
And I will say this. I mean, I think it's totally understandable on Rivian's part. This is an extremely complicated process and business of not only building the trucks, but building out the systems and processes to order the trucks, finance the trucks, pay taxes in different jurisdictions on the trucks. I mean, it's not a simple thing, but a little bit more communication and transparency, I feel like, would go a long way.
Right. I mean, like that video that I sent you guys from Transport Evolved, and how, Nikki went through the whole spiel on this is why it takes a long time to build a vehicle. That's a great watch. Kyle, if you wouldn't mind posting that.
I will.
I mean, it is a great watch, and I have no problem with the delay, but call it a delay, or give us the information that we need to be able to make better informed decisions for us as customers, especially the ones that should have taken delivery no later than yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just communicate.
Yeah, and I think the right way to do that would be to provide a window of time, and maybe it's a likely case, because Rivian has projections and they have targets and they know what they want to be able to do, and then they probably have kind of a worst case scenario as well. So provide likely case and worst case, and give people something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kyle's got his thinking face on.
Well, I don't. I mean, I totally agree. There's really not too much more to say than that. I think that if I put my thinking face is like just really trying to put myself into the shoes of Rivian. I think that we all do that. We want to be fair. And we're like, man, it's so difficult what they're trying to achieve, and there's so many unknowns. And I think that when I try and get in the shoes of like the comms department or whoever's, trying to put out the messaging, which is the comms department, is that like there's this fear or hesitation that like we just don't want to put out a target, a window, and then miss it, And it's almost like, well, are we better off just to like be quiet? And we start making up these stories, and the community starts making up these stories. And, I think we'd rather just have a missed communication, like a missed target date, than none at all. And especially for those people that were told October, and the fact that they haven't been contacted that's just inexcusable. I mean, you know what I mean?
Right.
And tell them with as much notice as possible.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So if you know that it's not looking good, especially when if you want to call it a deadline, if it's a deadline, if it's a target that you set with someone, it's just manage those expectations appropriately. And if you're not going to make it, communicate that you're not going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. To kind of steer it into some other direction that a lot of people have been talking about as far as just news in the past week or two, it was what you touched on, Skylar, about the S-1 report being updated. And about like a week or two ago, the number, I forget all the specific numbers, but it was like less than 2 cars per day had been produced and delivered. And of course, there's just all kinds of goodness on the internet about what that means, from the haters and then from the faithful too, like, oh my gosh, what does this mean as far as my timing? And then Skylar, you just mentioned some numbers here. If I unlock my iPad here to bring it up, but 180 R1T's produced, 156 delivered. So it's definitely picked up. And Jimmy, you mentioned that great article, the video, which we'll put up there, but do we want to talk any more about that and like predictions with the ramp and where we see it headed? And Skylar, have you plotted a curve from 2 a day to wherever we are now and what that curve looks like into the next month or two for us? Any other insight there?
I have not done any analytics on it or anything else. However, it does say in there that they plan to deliver 1,000 R1Ts and 15 R1S by the end of December.
15?
So that
15.
Yes.
Just 3 over a dozen.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Skylar, because the only thing I was going to input into this is that back when we first got the delays from, the spring to July, and then it was pushed back again to September, then that's when they said that the R1Ss would just be late fall without anything. And so people like Skylar and me are like, okay, what's that mean? And, as our neighbors ask us every day, when's the Rivian coming? I started saying, like, I'm hoping that Santa will bring one, but that's probably not, but there's a chance because I was doing like the 3-month, delay after the R1T. And then when I heard like the 2 per day and that, I was like, okay, well, there's no chance. So now you're definitely telling me there's not a chance with 15.
No.
Yeah. Those will all go to employees.
Yeah, that's
every single one of those 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would just venture a guess that there's probably going to be somewhere in the range of 100 to 150 R1S that go to employees first. So very similar to the R1T. So depending on how quickly they ramp that up, I mean, Kyle, I don't know. Maybe we're looking at March-ish. We'll see.
Yeah, they're going to miss my birthday, too. My birthday's at the end of January, so. Oof.
I won't miss it, Kyle.
Here's the deal, it's like what we could try and get Rivian to do is consider us full-time employees. We're just not commissioned. But, I mean, we are. So, come on. Can you guys just put us in line with the full-time employees? We're just not paid? And then,
unpaid volunteer employee.
Yes.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. All right, folks. Thanks so much for watching. Please do subscribe. We obviously have a ton more coming. And then in the meantime, please join us over at rivianstories.com. We have a lot of great conversation happening over here. And we also have some t-shirts. We'll ship them straight from us to you very soon. Thanks.